Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate taking time out of y'all's busy schedule, stop in and see what it is I'm up to. It is 3:15 ish, Thursday, the 4th of May, 2023, 27 degrees Celsius, 33% humidity, 81 degrees Fahrenheit. And I am off to my daughter's for 5 days. And hopefully, I've got everything I need or will need. Pretty sure I do. Man, this guy's out here cutting the lawn with a pair of scissors. So yeah, I got, I don't know. I brought my clothes, which is a good thing, right? I've got all my medications, I do believe. Just have to remember exactly where I put them. And let's see, what else? Oh, I brought a bunch of crafty stuff to occupy my time if I need to, which I doubt I will, but it's always good to have it. So, anyhow, we'll go ahead and make our way over there. Figure out what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. I'd given my daughter multiple options, and she chose the ones that she thought would be best, and supposedly shopped for them and got what I'm going to need. So, hopefully, that works out, because in the past, she has gotten me stuff that wasn't exactly what I was thinking about. And then there's times that I tell her, I'm going to come over for dinner and I want this, this, and this, and she gives me something totally different. So, I generally end up making it work, though. I mean, when you get right down to it, if you want to make up a hamburger dish and she gives you chicken, protein's protein, right? So, okay, I don't know what the heck that guy was just doing. So yeah, I mean, I can substitute in chicken or pulled pork or whatever. It may change some of the seasonings I had in mind or whatever, but one thing I'm planning on is sausage with cheesy rice. And I wanted like cream of onion soup and cream of broccoli, and she got me cream of mushroom and cream of celery. That's not going to work. First of all, I don't eat mushrooms, and I don't eat celery. So, and it's totally different. But, and I get it. I mean, I went to the store yesterday. I couldn't find cream of onion soup. I couldn't find cream of broccoli. I don't know why, but they didn't have it. So I ended up going with a broccoli cheese soup, which I think will do just exactly what I want it to do. And I may go ahead and use the cream of celery just to give it that extra creaminess. I don't know. We'll have to see. and hopefully she got the right sausage. I told her smoked sausage, but we'll see. Again, nothing but a thing. I mean, I was watching Southern Frugal Kitchen or Frugal Southern Kitchen or something like that, and she was making hot dog burnt ends. I've done that before. I like it. It's good. So, all right, people, what are we doing here? The school's letting out. This crossing guard is messing up traffic. So my son came over today to work on the van. He drained out about 12 gallons of fuel, and then went up and put some high test in. The van it runs good until you go to drive it. It doesn't drive well. So, I mean, the fuel filter was nasty. You replace that. But yeah, it's not shifting properly. It's not doing something. So, talk to my grandson to go over. I need to talk to my grandson into going over and doing a drivability on it. See what his diagnosis is, and if it's going to need a transmission, which really stinks because the transmission that's in there is only a couple of years old. It's only got about 12,000 miles on it. So if it needs a new transmission, what's it going to cost to get it? Or not a new, but get him to rebuild the transmission. What that's going to cost. Anyway, it's one of those things. It's like, do we keep putting time and money into it? You know, I mean, it's got over 500,000 miles on the odometer. So, I mean, the motor runs strong. It needs a transmission again. And that's going to be at least $2,500. Well, maybe a little less if Kay can cut me a deal. But still, it's going to be well over $1,000. A friend's nephew's got another van for sale, but it's a Dodge. It's got way less mileage on it. Dodges are more... I mean, I like Dodges, but they're a little bit more difficult to get in and out of. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's like I was telling my son, I mean, if I'm going to go with a small van, I may as well go with a minivan and get a lot better gas mileage. The only thing I'm really concerned about is having enough space to put a bed. So, that's doable. Whether, you know, a minivan, I might have to reconfigure the seats a little bit, but it's totally doable. And if I can get an extended minivan, then I don't even have to redo the seats. And this Dodge that my son was talking about is another short wheelbase. So it's basically going to be you put a bed behind the driver's seat and not much else. And then, there's room for other stuff, but whole lot of stuff to think about, right? So I've mentioned the brace that I'm wearing. Yesterday, another one of my camera mounts doesn't want to stay in place. So I mentioned the bracelet I was wearing. A couple of y'all were concerned that I hadn't said anything about it before or something. I carry elastic bandages, the elastic wraps in all my bags because I've got bad ankles and bad knees. And if I have something flare up, then I can stop and wrap it up. But I also have actual braces, like the one I've got on my knee right now. It's doctor suggested, but not a prescription brace. It's just a fairly decent over-the-counter brace. It's got a metal strip runs down either side. And I've been wearing them off and on for years, especially the ones on my ankles, because I have a lot of problems with my ankles, and I should wear them all the time. Problem is, after a while, you can only wear them for a day or two, and then they have to be washed. And after a few cycles of that, they wear out, and you have to replace them. Well, they're not cheap. I mean, they're not expensive, but they're not cheap. So I'll wear one, until it wears out, and then not replace it for a while until I need it. And then kind of rely on a wrap. If I sprain my ankle again or twist my ankle, I can wrap it up like that and then go get the actual, foreign brace. So it's something that I've been dealing with for years and years and years. Like even before the racetrack accident, I had problems with my ankles because I've sprained them, I've busted them, I've torn ligaments. I don't have a whole lot of support. So, usually I try to be careful and make sure that I'm stepping properly, like going up and down steps or when I'm out walking on an uneven surface. I try to make sure of my footing, because I can turn an ankle just like that. I can turn an ankle walking across the kitchen floor. So I can turn an ankle turning around from the refrigerator. So, not thinking, you put your drink down in the refrigerator, or you get something out of the refrigerator, you stand up, shut the door and pivot at the same time. I can't do that pivot like that. Not on my ankle. I need to actually lift and step. And sometimes I forget, because it's not as often as I've been doing it, or as long as I've been doing it, it's still not a natural thing to do. So that's what happens. And then, my one knee is really bothering me right now, and that throws my balance completely off. So like just going down steps. I've got to be super careful going downstairs. Anyway, that's the state of that. Like I said, there's nothing. Excuse me, nothing really new wrong. It's just I'm doing what I should have been doing all along, but don't. I mean, the ankle braces wear out really quick. Like within less than a month, I'm going to need new ones. They're not that bad. Excuse me. The knee brace, I think this one's like $50 or something like that. It should last me several months. I'm not sure if it can be washed or not. It should be able to. It's basically wetsuit material. But I have a couple in my Amazon cart. I think I mean just to be different. Everybody knows I like the color purple, so I have a couple of purple ankle braces. I think it's $14 or something like that for two of them, which isn't bad. Wow, that's a pretty truck. Oh, I can't get it to see. Jeez. Pulling a tiny little trailer too. And I've also got a different style brace, but there's a pair, and they're also in purple. But I think they're like $29 or something. They don't have the metal, the metal in either side, but they're supposed to be reinforced also. I don't know. I may get to them and decide that that's not what I want and go with something else. So, let's see what else. I got home yesterday. I've mentioned a couple times that I found those 2 flats of flowers on the side of the road, and they were wilted. I mean, dried up. Hardly any moisture left in the plants themselves. So I took them home. I soaked them down, and then I made up I can't even say I made up a solution. I just kind of poured the peroxide, dribbled peroxide around the flats, and they were still soaking wet. So it kind of, hopefully it went down into them, but the plants revived like really quick. And I went and told the lady that lives in the front apartment that I had them, and that if she wanted, she could come back and get them and plant them in a couple of planters that are out front and then around wherever. And her eyes got all big and, very happy and thanking me. And like, I didn't do anything but find these things. So if you're going to make the yard pretty, thank you. Anyway, I got home yesterday, and she must have gone and got them before she went to work, because they were over sitting on her side of sitting over on her front porch. So probably when I go home on Monday night, there should be some flowers in the front yard. We'll see. I did put like 4 or 5 of them in a little hanging basket that I've got from Dollar Tree. I had intended for something else and just didn't get around to doing that. So anyway, got a big old line of traffic here, which figures it should move fairly decently. There's a single traffic light up here. It takes a bit sometimes to get through, but it is what it is. So, a week over here. Granddad, as an old man, said something the other night about he's on vacation and it kind of messes with his schedule. Well, I'm not sure if he's talking about the scheduling of his of posting videos or watching videos or whatever. But I know this coming over here for 5 days is going to totally disrupt my every day. You know, even nights like that I go out to dinner, I still have a fairly routine, or I have a routine set up on those days as well. This week I'm not going to my son's on Sunday. I'll be over here. I'm not going to my youngest daughter's on Monday because I'm going to be over here. I may end up going to my youngest daughter's on Tuesday. So we'll have to see about that. Didn't do a rain check on the son's house, but anyway, I know being over here is going to mess with my routine. It'll mess with my sleep routine for one. I'll be getting up earlier. Well, maybe not tomorrow because they go to school tomorrow, but definitely Saturday and Sunday. So, and Monday they go to school. Grandma will get them up to send them off to school. I'll be up and waiting for them to get home. And then Mom and Dad will be home sometime late Monday night or Monday evening at some point. So then I got a couple of weeks at the beginning of June. I'm supposed to go over to my son's house and watch the dogs and the cats and dogs. Don't have to worry about the fish anymore. It passed away, which my granddaughter was all upset about it, but the type of fish that she had doesn't usually last more than a year or so. And I think her fish was pushing 3 years old. So it's a beta. Beta. It's supposed to be just by itself in a tank. And anyway, I don't have it to worry about. Just the cats and dogs. Not letting the cats out, or let the dogs out. Just again, it messes, a totally different schedule. Although I can still do my Monday night at the youngest daughter's and Thursday night at the older daughter's. So it's not, won't throw that schedule off too much. They're supposed to be making it easier up here. They're supposed to have another lane. Because right now we had one truck go through, and it looks like there's a truck waiting to turn. All right. It should come in the other way, is my thinking on it. Because this road goes up to the next road that runs in the direction we're running right now. Yeah, I don't understand. They widen the road, but it's still one lane. They put like curbs along the one side. That doesn't help matters much. You wonder what they do with our money, right? They do stuff like that. Oh, let's widen these lanes, but it doesn't help anything. We'll just give it's a nice like curb lane, but it's not a lane or a nice paved shoulder. We don't need a paved shoulder. We need a turning lane. Maybe they'll restripe it and make the one a turn lane. I don't know if there's enough space. I don't know. It's kind of like I've talked about the walkway along the bridge over to St. Johns River, across the Fort Warren Bridge, I-95. I think they put it on the wrong side. Of course, they don't ask me, but the view is on the east side of the bridge. That's where you see the real city skyline. The west side is just a large part of the river and not really a whole lot of interesting architecture. So that's point one. And then they don't give any parking at the bottom of the stupid walkway. You got to walk 2 to 3 blocks. Like, you got to park 2 to 3 blocks away and then walk there. So what was the sense in that? God knows how much money they spent on it. I know it's been being built for a long time. I mean, construction was going on there when the Ole Miss was in the hospital. And that was 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So, you know, they've been dropping some coin on it. And then to have it turn out like that, I mean, at least have it come down and then turn under the bridge and come around to where there's parking under the bridge. Again, I don't know. I'm sure they did all kinds of engineering studies and, you know, all that other stuff, wasting money on slide ruler calculations and only to have it built and be like, well, maybe it isn't exactly what we thought we should do. Bah humbug. It's like it's the same everywhere. You'll see people, you know, they're doing road construction and widening the road. Well, by the time they're done, they're still 10 years behind the road usage because they're operating off of a plan that took 10 years to start. So the 10,000 cars an hour that they're building for from 10 years ago is now 25,000 cars an hour. And you spend all that money and didn't do anything. Double your projection and you'll be like keeping pace. Who am I to say? I don't know. Kind of makes sense to me, but I'm just some redneck from Florida. What do I know? Anyhow, we are. I keep moving this. I can't even see what's on there. Um, we are making the last turn. So let me know what you think, folks. Give me a thumbs down or a thumbs up. Leave me a comment wherever it is y'all leave comments on your internet access device of choice. If you'd like to share me around your social media, that'd be fandoculous. If your loved ones are nearby, give them a kiss and a hug. If they ain't, give them a call. Hit them up on Facebook. Let them know you think about them. Let them know you love them. We ain't promised tomorrow, people. We ain't promised our next breath. So I see y'all again. I hope you have a fandoculous day. It's watching, y'all. Bye-bye.